And welcome to this edition of the Angels and Destiny show. Why is this show called this, you may ask? So I'll tell you. It says to me in the Angel's Messenger, and it says to me in the Destinies to make them establish. So my guests and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And of course, I like working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful returning guest, Sandra Pelley. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for the show live at a later date, as it means a lot to us to connect with like-minded people. Now, if you've never met me before, then my name is Ray, and I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy. And I'm a spiritual guide and healer, passionate about helping you reconnect with your divine presence and step into your purpose. Now, through angelic Reiki, angel oracle cards, guided meditations, and exploring past and future lives, I support you in healing your past and creating a soul-aligned future. Now, my journey has taught me that with the right tools and guidance, we can all connect with our higher selves, embrace transformation, and live a life of abundance and fulfillment. Now, each episode of this show covers the themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation or angel oracle card reading with the wisdom of wonderful guests, like today's guest, Sandra Pelley, about the 4 aspects of the inner dragon. Now, Sandra is the inner peace mentor and dragon ally, guiding others through inner dragon transformation. If you've ever felt triggered, had expectations that weren't met, or struggled with limiting beliefs without realizing it, a simple conversation with Sandra can help you gain clarity and set you on the path to powerful transformation using simple yet effective tools. Now, Sandra believes that everyone has a unique gift, and through years of working closely with both women and men, as well as her own personal journey, she has identified key insights that can help you rediscover your passion for life. Her mission is to empower others by deepening the connection with their guides, especially their inner child, the little you, by using life-changing mantras, small gifts in everyday language, and great awareness to expectations. She helps peel away layers of deep emotional wounds, allowing true healing to begin. From there, Sandra introduces you to your inner dragon, the energy that fuels your drive and commitment to turn your vision into reality. Her signature concept, from a whisper to a roar, brings together the inner child, inner dragon, and your personal power, helping you step into your most empowered self. Combining dragon energy with the wisdom of medicine world and shamanic traditions, Sandra walks you through the steps to embrace your true strength, purpose, and passion, creating a life you may only have imagined. Now, last time Sandra was on the show, she actually spoke about dragons and the inner child. So we're going to go a little bit deeper today, now that we've got the show working. So without further delay, hello, Sandra, and welcome back to the Angels of Destiny show. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. Very excited to be here. I love the energy of it because everything happens for a reason, ultimately, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So before we get into this fascinating conversation, I want to remind you all that not only can you share this video, but you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Sandra and I want to be part of this conversation. So please don't be shy and do say hello so we know you're watching. So Sandra, why don't you remind us about your journey and how the 4 aspects of the inner dragon, our emotions, physical self and spiritual energy, come together to shape our self-identity?
Well, it's really fascinating when you ask me to share my story. My story can be quite lengthy on one hand, and on the other hand, when you consider the 4 aspects of the inner dragon, it's been a very enlightening journey. And I want to kind of start at that aspect of the pillars, if you will. A beautiful word that you brought to my attention. The 4 aspects of the inner dragon are the emotions, the physical, the spiritual, and self-identity. And the reality is that that is a part of us right from the get-go, just like our inner child. So currently, I've been doing this inner dragon 7-day boot camp and doing each of the archetypes. So that archetypal quiz is available on my website. What's really been fascinating is the stories that have been coming up with this. So there's 7 archetypes and there's 7 chakras, and that means there's 49 different pieces to this if you want to go with the 7 times 7, right? I am really recognizing how I have stories throughout my entire life that actually show each of the archetypes in each of the chakras. So that just really drives home for me how much this has been a part of my life right from the beginning, even though I personally didn't come aware of it until October or November of 2023. So that's really, really interesting. In essence, my journey has been one of a small town girl living in the mountains in a national park in Canada, and got married, had kids, all the normal things, then suffered a devastating pelvic injury, dislocating my pelvis on both sides. From there, a good 17 years of continual injuring and finding my way, and then discovering like truly that it was myself that was causing most of my own problems, coming to grips with that, changing that. As you mentioned, the beautiful mantras that I incorporated into my life, really recognizing myself in my own, like I said, my own journey. And now really recognizing how that inner dragon has been a part of that every step of the way, even though I wasn't aware of it till like even this week, how deeply woven in that's been. It's incredible, really beautiful.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Quite often we do so much work and we know so much, but then something comes along and we're like, oh, there's another layer here. There's something else that I need to work through or I need to bring into the fore.
Yes. Maybe it would be beneficial to know what the archetypes are. In
Yeah.
essence, they're the creator, the guardian, the healer, the sage, the seeker, the visionary, and the warrior. And within you is every one of these. What's really fascinating is I've got a couple quizzes, and the one quiz really shows you which one I. How does this one come through? I'm kind of getting clarity on how the wording of this should be or could be. In essence, what this first quiz does is it shows you the lessons that you've actually been brought to earth, to this human life, to actually learn. And that even coincides with the chakra that comes up with that inner dragon archetype with the chakra dragonfly. So from there, the next step of that is, well, which archetype would actually help me to move forward in my life? Because this one taught me all the lessons, but which one is going to help me move forward? So I'm just loving how this is unfolding. And like, this has all just come through even since the last time we spoke, which really wasn't all that long ago at all. And yet this is a very rapidly evolving evolution that is so clearly within each and every one of us when we lean into it.
Yeah. It's like, as you were talking about the different archetypes, it's kind of like they're just triggering things off in the back of my mind. And that, so are they actually assigned to a particular chakra, or do they just go with any chakra depending what's needed at that moment in time?
Great question. So with the first realization of the archetype and the chakra, it's usually the one chakra. Although there are times where people may have a couple archetypes and a chakra. And it's usually because that chakra was the one that you really needed to be in. So for me, it was the yellow, the solar plexus chakra, and I was the healer inner dragon archetype. I love the throat chakra energy coming up with this. And I had to, for myself, find joy in my life. And yes, I thought I had joy in my life. However, I never realized the extent of joy that could be had if I actually could find joy in myself, right? And so the healer inner dragon archetype really showed me how to love myself so that I could find joy in my life. There are seekers who are throat chakras, the throat chakra, and they are more often than not, they are finding ways to be seen among their peers. So they're healing that personal truth journey, being able to speak that personal truth to themselves. So when you ask the question, is it a specific chakra? Yes, it is. for that beginning journey. However, every one of the chakras will have shown up in our lifetime. Every one of the archetype will have shown up at some point in our life. It's why you were drawn to get the beautiful angel wings for the year for yourself. That's that beautiful creator feeling the ambiance. It's why you had the vision of, even the radiant angel energy like that there's something there, right? It's also to the way we maybe protected our children. There's the guardian or the warrior, right? Like, and every chakra again comes into play. However, like I mentioned, there is one specific archetype and chakra that will either show you what lessons you've come here to learn or how to move forward next.
Yeah, which is a really good a focus, really. If you think about it, if you're sort of like floundering in life, yeah, life injustice, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, etc. Well, maybe find out why you came here, what you need to learn from it, and where you need to go.
Boom. Yeah. 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 I don't even know how to expand from that because all I can do is share from experience. And the people who are in my community who have made the choice to make differences in their own lives, like I love working with what's next people. And those are the type of people who are like no longer satisfied with the status quo of where their life has been. They are ready to make that jump into whatever is coming up for them or whatever they want to go towards, the passion project or whatever, relationships. So when they start, there are a lot of things that are going like, how do I do that, right? And that old chakra and archetype really helps you to see why you've been held back from being able to move into there. And in getting those aspects, like the emotions that come up, the physical aspect, like maybe our body is reacting a certain way, that spiritual thing, maybe we don't even recognize that we have the opportunity to move and be so much more because of maybe the religious background that we've had, a parental background, genetics, whatever the case is. And same with that self-identity. How often are we squished down rather than fluffed up, right? And this is a really great opportunity to start to fluff up ourselves, especially given what the world's happening in the world right now. We need to look within ourselves to see how we each are reacting. And if that's a reaction that isn't beneficial for yourself, then can you imagine what it's doing for everybody else? So looking within yourself, feeling better about yourself causes this beautiful ripple effect to start to happen all around.
Yeah, and a lot of people do forget that. And Andy's joined us. Hi, Andy. Good to see you here. Don't forget, if you are watching, to say hello to us. But yeah, a lot of people forget about the collective energy, the collective memory, the what's the word I'm looking for? It's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come back. But we all have a role to play in what's happening in the world and what's going on, and how other people, as well as ourselves, are reacting or acting to it, creates what other people are reacting and creating from it. So when we do look at our inner child, our inner self, and start actually living in our own life, then we start making those changes.
Yeah, I love where you're going with this because so many people are willing to accept fate. And that's kind of what's been put in front of you and is expected of you. And you look at the people who have chosen to create a new destiny, if you will. Like there's so many choices. There's so many choices. And we are collectively all that energy. So everything that you were just saying, Ray, is so true. We're all connected in very powerful ways. What we do with that connection is the power. And our self-identity really has to be the start of that. So if we identify with a person who is, here's a good example. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, right? I've been a janitor. I've worked on the railroad as a conductor on freight trains. I've been a CPR instructor. Is that who I am? Truly? Those are aspects of myself. just like the four aspects of the emotions, physical, spiritual, and self identity. However, I also truly identify now as the inner dragon transformational specialist. I identify as a galactic shaman. I identify as Sandra Pelley, the Sandini, because I've chosen to step into the power of who I am. And that, instead of coming up and saying, hi, I'm the mom, or I'm a mom, I'm saying, hi, I'm Sandra Pelley, the Sandini. Like right away, you can feel the energy, the shift and the change in that, because I'm claiming who I am. And that's what we're being asked to do, is to claim who we are in an authentic way. And I really want to make something clear too. There is force and there's power. We're all so very currently aware of what the force is. The power is when we stand in the positive side of things. Yes, there's balance. There will always be negative, positive, good, bad, black, white, whatever the case is, however you look at that. However, when we really find that balance within ourselves, where we can accept all these parts, but know how to shine because of them, or not because of them, despite them even,
Yeah.
that's a lot more powerful, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and of course, obviously, we were talking just before we came on about where I was in Panto, and I was playing Caraboss, and obviously that's based on Maleficent, and sort of like how her story has developed, and the sort of like trying to balance both parts of her shadow and her positive
Yeah.
side in there, and it's something that really that's what we're always trying to do. And when we stand in our own power and we realize that we kind of like know, or we
Mhm.
can do that, and we can be part of that collective energy of making the change.
Mm. So, in making the change, some of the important things to recognize is that you have likely created a habit in your life. And following that habit is always the easiest thing to do. It truly is. It's really easy to fall into a habit and just stay in that. When you recognize that habit and what it's possibly doing for you or against you, then you can start to change what that habit is. And I mean, I could go off in all kinds of directions about rewriting energy, rewriting past lives, rewriting events that happened in this current lifetime, whatever it is, to assist your inner child. However, if it's something as simple as you recognizing a habit you don't like, then every time you do that habit, stop that habit. That's that physical and emotional piece coming up right there of the inner dragon. You learn to stop that habit, even if you're partway through it. Maybe it's you're saying something and you stop yourself dead in your tracks. Then you shift what you're saying to something much more beneficial, or change what you're doing to something more beneficial. Like for instance, sitting there scrolling on the phone through reels. That is a habit that can while away hours and hours of our day. If you go, okay, I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes so that I'm not necessarily taking away from myself, because maybe I enjoyed looking at reels. I set myself a timer, and then when that timer goes off, I actually stop, and I've actually collected whatever reels I thought were beneficial for me. If they were exercise, if they were cooking, if they were mantras, whatever the case is. But that's one of the ways to start, is to recognize the habit that is working against you, to change it.
Yeah, really good advice there. And Andy says, I always say, if you don't let your inner child out to play,
You're in danger.
in taking your chance of taking your life too seriously.
Yeah, I was on a mountain bike ride once, and I'm an avid mountain biker, so we've done a fair amount of kilometers every year mountain biking, and we were on this one area where I was hike biking, and I suddenly recognized that my inner child was sitting on the basket. Well, and I don't have a basket on my mountain bike. It was an energetic basket, but my inner child was sitting in that basket, enjoying me pushing the bike up the hill, but was asking, when are we getting there? When are we getting there? With regards to the top. It was quite comical. So I got to the top and I got to get back on my bike, and we flew down the hill instead on our bike at the other side, and just really felt the enjoyment in both of aspects of that, like really honoring the inner child, that they weren't slaving away beside me. They were still enjoying the uphill, that part of it, and then enjoying the rest of the ride as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, and obviously that came up. I think we there and that was we kind of went through that in the last show.
Yeah. No, that's right too.
Um, and that so it's great that that's actually sort of like come back up again. So how can the with the Dragons and the Child really help us step into our own personal power, our most
Mm.
empowered self.
Okay, I love this. The first thing that, like, if you're, say, you, let's bar take out the quiz from it, the inner dragon archetype quiz. Look at what you're natural at doing. What do people say that you're natural at doing? If you look at the energy of that, for myself, I was always somebody who was there that people could talk to, and I could hear or see something in what they were saying. So that was natural for me. And it's natural for you to tap into the energy of the angels. There's so many things that we're very natural at that maybe we're not recognizing. And that natural piece of us is connected with that part of us that's either the creator, the guardian, the healer, whatever aspect it is, right? Lean into that and start asking questions of how can I develop this further, right? Who can I do that? Like the who, what, when, where, why is what I always say, the 5 W's and the how, right? And also, too, look back on your life and ask yourself, what are 3 pivotal moments that changed my life? Because those 3 pivotal moments are going to be who you naturally are to move yourself forward as well, who you were in those pivotal moments.
Yeah. And also, looking back at what your childhood, what you enjoyed there. And I've recently I've been talking about that, when I looked back and I didn't realize, because I've always been on this spiritual path, but at school once, my class wanted to do the Ouija board.
Mm.
I wasn't interested. They asked me if I were, and I wasn't interested, but they said, "Can you come and make sure we're safe?" What do I do? And when I look back, I've always been, even though I didn't realize at the time, I've always held space for people to develop their own identity, their own way of doing things, which is which I do now. So it is looking back at the past and seeing what gifts, talents you had that you didn't even realize.
Oh, I love that, because what's coming up for me as you say this is my natural ability to hold family reunions. My dad has like 12 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
It's about having high school reunions where it's involving 3 years of classes versus just 1 year. So I have a knack for being able to bring together a big group of people. So this is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And Andy says that's very good advice, Sandra. Even I don't know my pivotal moments.
So I love this, and I think that's a very important question, Andy. So thank you so much for expressing that. The pivotal moments are when you made a complete change in your life, and recognize that it may not be really obvious to you what that complete change in your life is right now, because it just may have been very natural to have that occur. A complete change in your life, a pivotal moment. The ordinary ones are: you graduated from high school, you got a job, you got married, you bought a house, you had a kid. Those are pivotal moments. However, we also have other pivotal moments. For me, most of my pivotal moments have been a big injury, like a dislocated pelvis, a broken collarbone, a frozen shoulder, and it goes on and on and on. So it's what you did in that pivotal moment that changed your life, right? So for me, those pivotal moments that were injuries, it was 16 years of injuries. I suddenly realized what I was doing to myself. Something had to change. Actually, I got divine guidance that, you know what, you're being injured because we've been trying to talk to you. So pay attention. And so I started to pay attention and question why were all these injuries happening. And they're all right-sided, which is all current life. And what was I going to do to make things different? How was I going to change that? And my life has changed dramatically since the last really big one. I've had another one currently, but 2019 I think was the last really big one that I went through, and it was really interesting what I did in my life, how I changed my life. We actually went on the road traveling. So, right, those are the pivotal moments. Pivotal moments can be very small or very big.
Yeah, yeah. And they might not even, they might, as you said, they might just been something fleeting that you didn't even think about. But when you actually sit down and you take the time to think back to it, and you go, oh yeah, that's sort of like is how that came about. So I guess if you ever get injured, you kind of like, oh my God, what haven't I been doing? What have I not been listening to?
Exactly, exactly. I just want to expand on the pivotal moment a little bit more too, because I think it is such a really important topic. A pivotal moment could be a moment when you quit doing something or started doing something. That'd probably be an easier way to describe it. So maybe you quit saying something to yourself or about yourself or to somebody else, or maybe you started to do something on a daily basis. Like this year, I chose to step into doing mantra work on a every single day basis for myself. And now recognize I said for myself, because for the last 7-8 years, I have been doing mantras on a daily basis. However, 95% of them probably were always in a group setting. Oh yeah, I got it covered. I did it in that group. No, I've chosen this year to step into really being about doing mantras for myself this year. So that's a pivotal moment for me.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. And as you said, it can just be that smallest thing on there. And Andy has said, yeah, I recently had one that's made me think of things a different way, but before that, it's been 2019.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Andy. And it is when you start thinking about it, that's when these things start coming back in, because you're actually tapping into that part of your brain that's kind of automatically just let it pass,
So
forgotten about it.
just so you know, this is the seeker inner dragon archetype that you have activated when you're now seeking that information within you, right?
Yeah, beautiful. So what can you tell us about the other dragons?
Now, by other dragons, are you going really wide, or are you still talking about just the archetypes?
Okay, let's stick to the archetypes.
Okay. Okay, here's one. The healer. In again, I kind of expressed a little bit of my own journey, and part of that was multiple injuries, and in that, I looked for ways to help myself heal. So my healer inner dragon archetype really came forward and would drop things onto my plate, meaning things would show up in my email, things would show up on my social media feed that were in alignment with how I could help myself heal. Also, too, it's that in the middle of an injury, going to work on myself, I do something called pyramid power energy. It's this beautiful process that I do that I can use it for clearing, but I can also use it as bracing or healing aspects of my body. And with this one injury, I was actually called upon to bring in a lot more sacred geometry symbols as well. And that's that healer inner dragon showing me the way in that case to how to heal myself a lot better. And in that instance, I thought I was going to be weeks off my bike. I was 24 hours off my bike instead. It was quite miraculous. Yeah.
Wow, that is just so amazing and quick.
Yeah.
But again, it just goes to show how energy works. I've known with future life progression, people might go 5 years into the future and see how after 5 years, but literally within weeks or months in the current time, those things start happening because you've tapped into that beautiful energy, and it's suddenly gone, oh, you recognize me now, so I'm bringing it in.
Exactly. And I think I've spoken about the dragon painting on my wall. And did I tell you about the dragon that this was the eye? This,
Mm,
have I ever said anything about this to you? I just the other
I
day.
can't remember, but hey, there'll be people watching that never what they didn't see the last one. And if you didn't see the last one, just go back and watch it. You know, it's on my
Exactly.
channel.
So let me speak to this. This is another good example of the creator archetype. The inner dragon archetype came in. I was at a paint night and with my son for his birthday and his family. The exercise was to paint a small owl, and it was a wood winter landscape. Okay, and I asked my creative guide for guidance, and this is what came through me to be painted. So this was back in 2017 or 18. Okay, and the actual original is hanging up in my hallway, and I do 7,500 steps a day, so I'm walking by it every single day. And about a week ago, I'm like, huh, I just recognized that that's actually a dragon eye.
And it's taking you all this time.
7 or 8 years it took me to recognize that. But that was my creator, inner dragon, already doing two things. One, really helping me to paint in a different way, to express myself, right? But also to really already introducing the energy of dragons back then. So yeah, you just
Yeah.
don't know, right?
No, you don't, and I think that that's where the subtle change has come in. And it's something that I noticed, and I mentioned it a few years ago, that people suddenly, there were unicorns coming up everywhere, and it was like before you knew it, everyone was talking about unicorns, and it's like, well, where did that come from? But it kind of like came in subtly. And after the unicorns came in, suddenly dragons came in. So it's kind of like angels, then unicorns, then dragons. So it's sort of like leading each other
Prepping.
on to the next one coming in into our lives.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, yeah.
And it may be that where we've now the dragons now, and that was opening us up to the galactic beings coming through.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I love this. I absolutely can feel the power of what you're saying, because it's like introducing things to the human mind. And remember, the human mind is this big and we're using this much of it, right? So all that expansiveness has experienced all this. That's what I wanted to say earlier in this conversation, is that this realization that we don't have to uh, learn something, we are being asked to remember. And when you consider how big our brains are and what we're actually using, all that storage in our brain is untapped right now. So it's remembering.
Yeah, and I think the that 2 year break we had kind of like helped a lot of people start remembering, which is why there's all these changes that are going on now, to change our thoughts, our
Mm,
way of being, that collective energy of not being our own authentic selves, but following whatever we were. I wouldn't say dictated, that we were being guided to do or follow.
I love that. That brings up that aspect of self-identity. During that 2 year period, a lot of us started to recognize that we didn't like the way we had been living our life, and that this actually provided a really great opportunity to live our life in a different way. And so many people decided to start to take advantage of it. And I truly believe that that 2 years changed the truly the landscape of everything in such a powerful way to help humanity move forward in a different way entirely. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the things it's worth remembering, even if things seem dark or wrong at the time, when you actually look back and you look at it back from a high perspective, it's
Yeah.
like, ooh, actually, that was something we needed because we needed to learn from it. We needed that to get us back into our own autonomy, who we
Yeah.
truly are.
Yeah. Yeah. It also helped me to really, like when you think about where I personally am now versus where I was back then, It's also why I'm really working with what's next people versus those who are starting out, because those who are starting out, there's so many people out there who want to help people to move forward, except that they think they need to help those who really don't even know that they need help. And it's so much easier to work with people who know that they want to move forward in some manner, want help. Because when we, I mean, I can go off on a whole tangent about that part of the journey of if you don't know what you need until you've got it, or you're starting to recognize it. And there are so many people who also, true, in that 2 year span, were so desperate to have their life back the way it was, and still might even be clinging to that even to this day, thinking about what a horrible period that was. And yes, I think everybody can agree there was definitely some very dismaying parts about that 2 year
Yeah.
period. Having said that, for the most part, the change in so much for the positive was really beautiful to witness, and it brought home what's important. It was, recognizing being at home with family, or relationships were important. When we got locked out of places where we couldn't go to see our family, it really drove home how important support was. Right, all of these little bits and pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've all grown from that, even though it may not seem like it. If you look outside, we have actually all grown from that. So, any other of the aspects of the inner dragon we haven't spoken about yet?
Uh, what I love about what I have to offer, I'm going to go that route, okay? About what I
Mm.
have to offer. I will say once again, I really enjoy working with what's next type of people, the people who are ready to make that step, and that step doesn't have to be the mountain. It only has to be 1 foot in front of your last step, okay? And what I really love to do is work with those who are ready to explore what that might mean. Because, like, for someone like yourself with the angels, it's really starting to understand that humans have a very specific view of what angels are. And when you start to move past what the human concept of something is, it's really incredible how that can expand and grow from there. And I spent actually a full year and a half really going, okay, to my guides, I want to move past this human concept thing. I really need to move past this human concept. I want to see things past that. And it was brought home to me that you have chosen to be here to have a human experience. Okay. Yes. Thank you. And I also want to experience what that spiritual part of me is, that soul part wants me to experience as well. So I'm really aware of, I may have mentioned before, that beautiful crystalline castle that's right outside this space of mine, always to my left. And that's wherever I go, that crystalline castle is there. If I stayed in the human concept of things, I would not be able to recognize that that is there. That's what I'm asking of the what's next people who are ready to step into that spiritual, um, quantum, metaphysical aspect of things, is is the possibility that they can go way further than they have any possibility of understanding in this moment. And I love that.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. And it's also, as you said, remembering that you are still human here on earth, and you still have to be grounded and have those human aspects to actually appreciate
Yes.
the spiritual things when they actually, come, you actually remember them and they start coming into your life.
There's a beautiful balance there too, because it's those human concepts or human awareness that actually helps us to recognize what the block is or what the limitation is. And then once we see that, then we can start to remove that, right?
Yeah. And we can use the spiritual side to help remove that because we've tapped into that. Yeah.
That's right.
Makes absolute sense. So thank you so much for that. So as you know, I do angel oracle cards and guided meditations, and each week I like to ask my guests what they would like me to do for them. But Sandra, is there anything you'd like to share with our viewers?
For sure. What I would love for you to do, actually, do you mind if I walk them through a process?
No, go ahead.
And of course, we will be doing this as well. So I invite you to close your eyes. If you're driving, I invite you to pull over or come back. So I invite you to take a couple breaths to feel into the energy of who you are, breathing naturally. I invite you to invite your inner child, your little you, to breathe. I invite you to welcome in your inner dragon breath. Now take a moment to recognize your inner child, that little you. Feel the magic of who they are. Maybe witness what they look like, how they're dressed, what their hair looks like. Where they are. Maybe they're in front, beside, above, below, whatever it is. There's no right or wrong. It's just how they want to show up for you. And with the inner dragon, I'm going to invite you to go inside, go internal, and feel where your inner dragon energy is, where your breath of the inner dragon is possibly originating. Wherever it is, it could be the big toe, it could be the finger, wherever it is in your body. Just allow that inner dragon to reveal itself to you wherever it is. Breathe as your inner dragon. Ask your inner child to hold your hand, or if they'd like to place their hand in your hand, that this is a beautiful space, a sacred space where you are together as one, that three parts of yourself, that inner child, you, and the inner dragon are family, the most important family that you could ever have. That soul energy there. And feel how your inner dragon wants to support and is supporting your inner child. Witness what they're doing together. And I'm going to invite you to do one more thing. What color is your inner dragon? Now, please give thanks and gratitude to your inner child and yourself and your inner dragon. And know in your heart of hearts, this is always there with you. And so it is. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much
Oh.
for that. Gosh, since the last time we spoke, my inner dragon has grown. Literally, it was the whole of me. I actually felt its wings sort of like coming out. It's like, whoa, you've grown.
Love that. I love that. So I want to say something to that. Regardless of, I think you said something really important there, that your inner dragon will shift and change. Okay. And that's why, like, I mean, if your inner dragon needs to be the warrior today, not to say that your inner dragon needs to be the warrior today, Ray, that is going to show up like massively huge and be very, very much in the space, fill the space, right? And the healer is going to be this beautiful, loving energy. Mine is actually, I've even got an element to my inner dragon, and you can ask your inner dragon what element it resonates with as well. And then witness too, how does it fill your body? Mine comes from the soles of my feet and winds up to my heart space. It just feels so magical. Yeah.
Yeah, mine literally was from my heart space coming all the way, all the way out, which was absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much for that. And if you, whether you're watching this live or the replay, you know, and you did this, if you're happy to share, let us know in the comments, you know, how that was for you. So as a thank you so much for doing that, Sandra, I'm actually going to pull a card for you and everyone watching, because doing that.
I love that.
So we're cleansed and hear the cards. So of course, when I do the cards for what you need to know for your highest good at this moment in time. Because even though I work with the past, when we go into the past, we use that to remember, to heal, to clear from, so it doesn't affect you in the present. And when we go into the future, it's so we can see, understand, and know what our future is, and then bring it back to the present, so we're not worried about the present. So what does Sandra and everyone who's watching this live or the replay need to know for their highest good at this moment in time? At this moment in time. Okay, where are we going with this today? Lovely. Couldn't have made it up myself. Grounding. Go deep, explore your roots.
Love it.
I mean, how beautiful and synchronistic is that with the show? So for you, Sandra, and everyone watching, you know, well, for you, Sandra, it's really confirmation with what you're doing and everything like that. You know, how you're sharing with people. You know, then, you know, going deep, explore your roots, explore that inner dragon within you. And for everyone watching, you know, it's remembering, go deep within. You know, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, because it really grounds you, and you don't know what insights you are going to get from that. And they can be so magical, like a tree growing from an acorn. You know, there's just so much beautiful energy when you explore your roots, you know, who you truly are, and allow that to really expand outwards. So I'm so glad that card came out. And Andy says, thank you, Rain Sandra. You gave me something to think about, and thinking normally gives me a headache.
Call your healer inner dragon in.
Yeah, exactly. So, Sandra, do you have any insights or thoughts or last words of wisdom to leave our viewers?
For sure. You know what? Even if all you do again is recognize those 3 breaths, that you breathe naturally, your inner child has a breath, and your inner dragon has a breath. When we are shifting and people ask us to breathe, that's shifting into that inner dragon breath. When you're doing yoga poses, you're shifting into the inner dragon breath. When you're reciting mantras, you're doing inner dragon breath. That inner dragon breath, inner dragon period, has been a part of you forever, and it will always be there.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. So I hope everyone, you've enjoyed this conversation and found insightful, because I know I definitely have, same as I did last time. So if people want to connect with you, Sandra, how do they do that? And you spoke about quizzes earlier, and do you have anything coming up at the moment? Any free gifts?
For sure. sandrapelley.com. And if you go /inner blueprint, you will actually find the pathway to the free gift of the Inner Dragon Archetype Quiz, which will lead you through an email journey to bring up the chakra as well, the chakra dragonfly. In March of 2025, I have this incredible gift giveaway that's happening. A number of people, there's about 18 of us, I think, so far that have come together. That number I'm hoping will grow a little bit more, but it's a really magical thing. And there are incredible gifts in that are of all types of things, quizzes, meditations. There's actual sessions in here as well to whatever degree. It's really a good place to find some empowerment tools that will help you to move forward. And that's the spring equinox gift giveaway in March. Yeah.
Wow. And I'll definitely put the link to that and links to everyone to that they can find you quite easily without having to go searching for you in the comments after the show.
Sounds good.
So, thank you so much, Sandra, for sharing your wisdom. It's been absolute pleasure as always. And thank you to everyone who's watched. And thank you, Andy, for being brave enough to actually say hello and ask questions. And of course, if you are ready to for even more clarity and transformation, then I'd love to invite you to a free 20-minute live Soul Path Discovery call, one-to-one call, where during our time together, I'll pull a couple of angel oracle cards to help you gain clarity and uncover guidance from your higher self or the angels. This is your chance to reflect, connect, and gain insight into your path forward. And I would be truly honored to chat with you one-to-one, guide you and help you to take the next step towards living the life that you were always meant to live. And of course, I have a couple of free gifts designed to help you connect more deeply with your guides and explore your future. So do check out the link in the comments after the show to grab yours. And again, thank you everyone so much for watching. And I'd like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more people who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny just like you. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, then please feel free to subscribe and hit that bell button to be notified when this show goes live, or my other show, Oracle Cards Meditation, Your Weekend Reset, goes live, which does go live every Friday at 3 p.m, or I post new guided meditations. And don't forget, every time you like, share, comment, subscribe to any of my work, to any of Sandra's work, to any of my guests' work, you are being part of that energy of getting our message out there and help empowering other people to remember their reason for being here, because you affect the algorithms by doing that, and it creates that beautiful butterfly effect. And I look forward to you all joining me same time, same place next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.